So we're here in Malibu, not the regular studio. So you guys can see the beautiful view behind me. If you guys are listening, just picture like a beach, and how high are we? Like
pretty high. The driveway is pretty steep.
Yeah, it's super dope. All right, so today's guest. What's up?
I'm Janira Wolfe.
So like, explain how we kind of met. Like, cause I found you on Let Go, and I'm like trying to do the self-improvement thing, like read books like every single day, and I saw your post. I was like, hey, I'm gonna pick up some books, and then we started talking about like spirituality. I was like, yo, like, let's get on a podcast.
Yeah, so it's funny. I had thought about just taking the books to somewhere and donating them.
Yeah.
And then I thought about, well, you know what? Anyone who's going to be looking for these kinds of books is probably going to be a cool person.
Oh, you're right. And then you told me that cool people were like showing up, and you met like so many cool people.
Yeah, today, just before you came here, another person came over to get some of the other ones. The subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Damn it! I wanted to get that. I was like, I forgot to get that yesterday. I was like, damn it.
You know what? He needed it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he got one of my mindfulness books also.
Wait, why do you say that? Why do you say that he needed it?
Oh, well, because he is going through a similar process as I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with the therapy stuff. So, yeah, I was like, I was also kind of having a hard time letting them go.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, like, I hadn't really read all of them, like, completely.
Yeah. And then I noticed, like, I opened a book and, like, your mom had...
Yeah, my mom had written it.
I was like, all right, I'm not getting that. That's for you.
I was like, okay, fine. I guess I should keep this one. Yeah, if you guys saw my house right now, it's like, everything is just gonna go.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I like that. And I like to pass things on to other people. I think that's kind of like part of our responsibility as human beings.
Yeah, like that makes me feel good giving back. Cause like I know, cause at one point I was like super depressed, and I know how that feels, and like I don't want anybody else to feel like that. So it just gives me like joy giving back and like helping other people,
Right. I just feel like the whole like give and take, paying it forward thing is important as humans. It's, what we're here for.
So what did you do today? You had an intense therapy session.
I had 6.
You had 6.
6 intense therapy sessions. Yeah. It ended with... So the program is designed really well so that you have like the hard stuff earlier, and then it always ends with something like that's less hard.
Namaste.
So I actually did Kundalini yoga.
Oh shit, no way, that's dope.
Yeah, at the end of the day today.
Okay.
So at least I could end with like some like, shaking all my energy.
Can you explain, like, for people that, because I really don't know what that is, can you explain what that is? Like
so what I did today, I don't know if it's necessarily like how all Kundalini is done. I believe it means something about like moving energy up through the chakras.
So as you're saying that, it just reminds me of Tai Chi.
I've never done Tai Chi, but
I did it for the first time, and you're kind of like, I don't know, it's also like moving energy, like how you can feel like there's a ball of energy in your hands, and like you can move it, manipulate it, and it's super cool.
So this is kind of moving the energy that's in your body. And so actually a lot of the therapy that I've been doing is kind of around that. I learned how to energetically clear any negative energy from myself and from a room.
Yeah.
From anywhere that I am, I just sit there and just do it.
For example, like I was at a gas station the other day, and this guy, because I had cut him off, and the guy was like, he's like, fuck you, and then my response, I could have said fuck you back, but I said I love you, because I can't control what anybody else thinks, but I can control how I react to him.
So that is funny that you say that, because that is one of the things I have a hardest time with, and that like even through all the therapy that I have been doing the past few weeks, like still some.
This is a therapy session.
Yeah, so still me a message, and I am like, if it rubs me the wrong way, like, I will fucking get so angry about it.
Yeah.
And like right before I went into that dance session, so someone said on Let Go sent me a message. You know how I had the massage table on there?
Yeah.
So they sent me a message saying, how much for a massage? And I wrote back saying, I'm selling the table. And then they wrote back saying, oh, I'm just kidding. I wanted some of the books. And I just blocked him instead of blowing up on him.
Yeah, you didn't blow up on him. So that was good.
Thanks.
But you know, like for me, like I'm a guy, and it's like for a girl, it's like, yeah.
Well, and so actually, I've been exploring like why that's so hard for me in therapy. And what's been reflected to me is that these messages are crossing a boundary, and
yeah, they are. They are.
It's a significantly like smaller, less significant boundary than the ones that have been crossed that led me to act that way, of course.
Yeah.
And because I haven't dealt with fully all the other boundaries that have been crossed in my life, then like unconsciously, like all these times that people have violated me is like coming up when someone asks me how much for a massage.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
We were talking earlier about how your childhood memories really shape who you are, like in this present moment.
Well, and your childhood not memories. So like your childhood repressed memories too.
Like your subconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your childhood experiences. So I think even more the ones that you don't remember.
Yeah, those are the memories that like.
Yeah. Your body memories, but not your mind memories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's like, because I remember, for me, my parents would always fight, and they would, and you know, as you're a kid and you're like just soaking it in, you don't know what to do, right? And that kind of shaped like me, like having abandonment issues and like anger issues and all that stuff, you know. And like it's cool now that I realize it and like I can work on it, you know.
About the parents fighting, I'm like, so I went to therapy thinking like, oh, I'm gonna work on all this terrible stuff that happened to me like from my teenage years through adulthood.
Yeah.
Man, I've barely fucking gotten to the teenage years yet.
Oh,
I'm on week 3 of 6 hours a day, you know?
So you're still like around 8?
5.
Like 5? Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep, I'm literally at age 5.
Well, you can't. Rome wasn't built in a day. You gotta go slowly.
And like I'm still touching on other things too, but
yeah.
I had this like really intense reaction to a memory of my parents fighting, where my mom left.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only time. So my parents are still together. Okay. They actually have a good relationship now. They got through their fighting
some of my parents too.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So my mom left, and then she called the house after she had left, and I answered the phone and like I wanted her to come back and get me so badly. And
abandonment, then that's where that abandonment issues come.
But the thing that upset me the most about that memory was how I could feel how that hurt my dad when I wanted to go with my mom.
Oh, damn. Like, because he saw that you chose her instead of him.
Right. And I could feel...
You felt
that? It was the first time I remember feeling another person's pain.
Dang. That's pretty deep, because that's like the root cause of your pain, pretty much, right? Damn.
So, yeah, I texted my dad about it because I'm crying. I'm like lying in bed crying about like making my dad feel like I didn't love him as much as I loved my mom.
Yeah.
So I texted him this long text apologizing, and my dad is like a beautiful writer. He like wrote me back this like beautiful text. I don't know how he did it in such a short amount of time. It was really soon after I sent it. And
Copy
he's like,
paste.
yeah, he's like, oh, I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, waiting for you to say that.
So he's like saying how, like, he's like, it's hard to believe, but I really am able to like understand and like immediately forgive people for how they act in any given moment, and like
Yeah.
so he was like saying how he explained how he understood how my mom acted then, how he understood how I acted, and how he's like, you know, okay with all of it. And I'm like, well, good for you. You know, like, well, I still feel guilty, okay?
Yeah. Well, I think there's another thing. Like your parents brought you into this world, and I don't think I heard this, like, you don't owe your parents anything because you didn't choose to, to be in this world.
Or did you?
Maybe. I don't remember.
I think you did.
Yeah?
Yeah, so along the
Go ahead.
spirituality line.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
So I think that we choose the life that we have before we come into it.
How so? Like, and I know you were saying earlier that like we're reborn again, and like relive memories, right? Or like relive the life.
No, I think it's a completely different life.
Oh, it's a new life.
Yeah.
You experience other people's. I've heard this theory too. You have to live in every person's shoes before you become like one with the universe or something like that. Yeah. Yeah,
so I think like, you choose which experience. So I think you have to have like whatever, all the experiences.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I guess, that has helped me because, I would be angry with my parents, especially when I was deep in my like depression, suicidal kind of like phase. Like, fuck my parents for bringing me here.
Yeah.
And that was actually, I think, what led to my thinking about like, is it my parents' fault? Or did I choose to be here? And then I'm like, well, fuck me.
Yeah.
For choosing this life. Like, what the fuck, And even now, I'm still going through that. Like, everything sucks. And then I'm like, but I probably chose for this because I had to learn something from it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And I just... No one really told me about these ideas before I kind of like started thinking them on my own.
Yeah.
And then I started, seeing them show up in movies and documentaries and books and other people, and I'm like, oh, okay, other people think this too. Maybe there's something there. There's some truth to it, and it was definitely one of the things I'm pretty sure that I was told during that DMT experience that I forgot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I've never done DMT, but I kind of want to get, like, I want you to, like, kind of talk about your experience, but, fuck, I lost the train of thought. Just go ahead, talk DMT.
So, my first DMT experience, well, I'll talk about the second one, because that was the most significant one. My sister and her boyfriend had made it, and
pure
yeah, like organically, like, order all the stuff from this, like,
I heard you can extract it from like any grass,
plant,
like grass or plant or
yeah.
So
it's like, okay, well, there's something to that, right? And so I had done it before, but it wasn't fresh when I did it before. There's like a very distinct difference when it's fresh. It's like so much stronger.
There's different form. Is like there's 5-MeO DMT and there's like DMT. I know there's different kinds, but yours was like fresh.
Yeah. Like they had just made it, like
from the factory.
Yeah, like it
from
was
the lab,
like literally they had just made it, and like I didn't even like know that day that we were gonna do that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember why. Like, I don't know. We just like went to go hang out with my sister and her boyfriend, and I was with my.
It's like, hey, I have some DMT. Let's do it. You're like, fuck it.
Yeah. So
that was it. That's exactly how it happened.
Yep. So there's 3 other people there, and like we had kind of been in this like DMT phase, to be honest. And by we, I mean like I kind of was, but it was a little bit like after the first time was really awesome. I had this.
So you didn't break through the first time, right? You're saying?
No, well, kind of. I mean, like, so when
what did you see?
When I closed my eyes the first time that I did it, I was with, it was the first night that I met the boyfriend who left 2 weeks ago. And I had been around it for the past 10 years and opted out every time.
Because you're like, I don't want to do it, or because you're like, it's too much?
It didn't feel right.
Oh, it didn't feel right. Okay, that makes sense.
It just like, there was just something about it that I just didn't feel like it was the right time. And so then I met him and
it just happened.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, sure. Like, now is the time that I want to do that.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, okay, so this jacket.
Oh, the DMT jacket.
Yeah, so this kind of, so there's the eye on the back of it. Like the third eye kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the
So this is like the art. This is what it looked like when you were seeing visuals. Uh-oh.
Oh, no, it was closed. So then we have kind of like this is like a human over here. This is kind of like when you take your first hit.
That's wild.
And then over here, there's this is when you blast off.
Yeah.
So I was seeing something kind of in between these things.
Uh-huh.
When I looked at him, and he's the only other person around me. We're in this tent at a music festival.
Oh, okay.
And so I close my eyes, and all I can see is just colors, and they're going crazy. It was so uncomfortable.
How many hits did you take?
Fuck if I know, man.
Okay.
I was also on many other drugs.
I see.
And yeah, it was at like 5 a.m.
Whoa, shit.
Yeah, after being on many other drugs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So he was actually like shotgunning it to me, so that I could like kind of, relax, and I closed my eyes and I didn't like it at all when I closed my eyes. It was just like too much color. But that was it. There was just like shapes and colors, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't like this. And then I can't really remember what else was happening. It was
how did you take anything from that experience? Like, what did you take from it?
Well, so then when I kept my eyes open, and I looked at him, and I was really scared for a second because he had like 6 eyes and looked like this like weird kind of like lizard being, and I was like, oh my god, why is this lizard being on top of me? Oh yeah, because he was on top of me. Like we were like, and then he looks at me and he goes, what do you look like? And I was like,
what do you look like?
Yeah, he says, what do I like? Ask me what I look like.
Yeah.
And so
was he
I
on
was
it
like, only a little bit.
Okay.
Because like he was trying to dose me up because like, I hadn't had the experience before.
Okay.
And like if he was gone, then like how is he gonna protect me?
Yeah.
So suddenly I was like, oh my god, I'm a lizard being too. And so then I looked at my hands, and like I had really pointy fingernails at the time.
Yeah. And
my hands looked like
Edward Scissorhands.
They were like white and sparkly.
Michael Jackson and Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, and I had these like black nails, and it was like my fingers were so long, and I just like kept like looking and like touching myself and touching him, and we had like this crazy like lizard sex that
it's like, okay, so it was like Avatar, you know how like they fucking how they connect and they have like fucking
exactly it was like I was an Avatar, except I wasn't blue, I was like sparkly white. And I don't know, like afterwards even after that first experience, also his face was like kind of like a bluish green when he was inside of the tent, and then the sunroof was open, the sun was coming up, and when he went out, his face turned to red.
Yeah.
And so like he'd be coming back in and out, and like I would just notice all these colors changing. Oh my God, it was incredible. But so even after that experience,
and how long did that, do you think that lasted for? Because I know it only lasts for like 10 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes, but it probably felt like super long. Or did it?
No.
No?
It doesn't really feel that long, yeah. So then, like, that was a Saturday night. So then I had like a few more nights of just like doing a bunch of drugs. And even after that, like, I didn't really want to do that much. Like, I would just kind of like take a couple hits, and then things would start being like, oh, like weird.
But you didn't have the urge to try it again, because
not until that time with the other 3 people.
Yeah.
So with like he was there, and then my sister and her boyfriend, but that time I took one big hit, passed it off, and then like I took another, and I was gone.
Yeah.
But I was still standing up. Pure ego death.
Yeah.
But still standing. And as far as I know, my eyes were still open.
Shit.
And so then what started happening was like, and I don't like, this couldn't have been what was actually happening, because why would they just keep being in front of my face, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I kept seeing like one of them would like come and tell me a truth about life, and then another one would come and tell me a truth about life. Oh, so it was
a different experience where you actually like learn stuff, like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and so they're like all telling me all of these truths that I need to know, and I'm like, I know, like, thank you for reminding me though.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're right, I needed to remember that. And then I don't think they were actually there, because they were actually all in the bedroom, and then they called me into the bedroom and told me to come look at myself in the mirror. And as I'm walking toward the bedroom, then something says to me, you can go and look at yourself in the bedroom, but when you do that, then everything that you just relearned is going to be gone from your consciousness. Do you want to do that? And then
you'll be back. Like, you'll be back.
You'll be back here.
Yeah.
In this reality.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I want to do that. And then I went into the room and I looked in the mirror and I just looked like me.
Yeah. So like, and then you came back to this reality.
And so now, like,
we're talking about this, like,
so, you know, it's around, like, I think I even have some here, to be honest. And you
don't have the urge to do it.
I'm scared to do it. I don't want to do it at all. I don't want to even touch it.
Because we were talking about this earlier, how, like, for me, like, I don't smoke weed because, like, you know, like, you just get paranoid and your intuition gets lost, and like, you don't have the urge to do that. And I feel like you don't need substances to feel. I feel like everything's inside you, but you know, you have to learn how to channel
right. And so, like, taking the substances, like, helps you access that. It's not giving you something you didn't already have.
Yeah.
Weed is taking you out of your body because sometimes people need to leave their body. So I've been having a hard time with this, like, kind of realization that, like, weed makes you lose your intuition. And so I felt like, you know, I've been a pothead for the past 12 years.
Like, and smoking every day, pretty much.
Yeah, like, I would smoke in order to shoot videos. I would smoke in order to go to sleep. I would smoke to work out. I would smoke to...
During those times, do you think...
I felt like it.
During those times, do you think you were conscious, or were you just doing it, like, just because you were, you know, like, hey, I'm going to smoke weed, and You know, it became a habit.
Well, so sometimes it was to soothe pain.
Mm-hmm.
But of course your pain is going to be soothed when you're not in your body anymore.
Yeah.
It's not soothing the pain, it's
like
taking
what kind of pain
you
though?
out
like...
of it. Period cramps.
Oh, okay. It's like
pain,
physical pain.
Physical pain.
Okay.
It helped with my asthma.
Yeah.
Before I'd work out. I think I've since gotten rid of my asthma by myself. And so, you know, it's like, I like, you know, you read the things that, you know, the sativas are supposed to do and the indicas are supposed to do. And, you know, the sativas kind of spark your creativity. Right. Because if you're out of your body, then you're in your mind.
Well, you can do that naturally. You can.
Right, but I'm just excusing the fact that I'm saying I'm not excusing it. I'm saying I'm like, when you don't know how to do that, or you're not able to tap into that,
or another way to do that.
Yeah, and so like I don't think that necessarily like taking your intuition out of your body has to be a bad thing.
Yeah. For
everyone. And I don't want to do it anymore myself.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously, like, oranges and apples, like, some people prefer that. Like, my buddy, he, like, when he smokes, he gets super creative. And, like, he can, like, think of ideas.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
And
it's
that's
not for
what
everybody.
I needed it for, too. Like,
yeah.
Because I would, like, turn on the camera sometimes to shoot a video. And a lot of what I do, I just need to be able to talk for, 30 minutes straight by myself. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I would smoke weed first, and then it would just flow out of me. And it makes sense because, like, I was so fucked up. And so I needed to leave my body so that I could do that, because when I was in my body, it was I was so focused on all the discomfort or whatever. And I think another thing is that, so I told you that it started feeling uncomfortable for me.
Smoking weed
after my first week of therapy.
Uh-huh.
My first week of therapy is when I learned to come back into my body.
Come into your body, be grounded.
And I think I had been gone, I learned recently, for the past 25 years of my life.
Gone meaning that you weren't grounded? Like
that I was just kind of living out here while I was also living here. Because when you experience intense trauma like I did,
you try to escape.
Then so a lot of my memories of the traumatic things that have happened to me, I'm watching from outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like I literally left my body and didn't really come back until now. We
were saying the other day how there's an internal reality, which is yourself and your mind and how you think and stuff, and there's an external reality, which is the physical world, right? And you're saying like you were just pretty much watching yourself from a third person view. Yeah, and like you weren't. So you were attached to those ideas, pretty much, you know. Yeah. And you were creating your reality through those ideas. Yeah. Instead of using my actual self. Yeah, instead of actually using yourself. So it was like, my sister was talking to me recently about this idea that it's like a piece or sometimes all of your soul that leaves. Yeah. And so you kind of have to like call on it in order for it to come back. And I think that I like knew that I had come back, but I didn't really realize the gravity of that. Yeah. Until I tried to smoke weed. Your soul or your consciousness, like I think it's all the same. Your soul, consciousness, God, like how they say God, like the universe. I think it's all the same. Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. Yeah. Yeah. So it was like I couldn't, and then I'm like, well, like why didn't anyone teach me that earlier? You know, and
I think one of the hardest things I had with it is like.
But everything I feel like everything happens for a reason. No, that's what I'm saying. It does.
And everything happens because you chose for it to happen too, right? You know, before you were born. So, yeah. Accepting that it's hard, and you have to do it repeatedly.
But then there's that. But also, what gives me the like happiness is like helping other people, because at the end of the day, like, you know, okay, say like that doesn't exist, because at the end of the day, I think they're just ideas that you put in your head, and well, whatever. What helps me is helping other people, and I know how that feels. So to help somebody escape that feeling or that way of thinking gives me gratitude. Like, I just want to help people. And like, you're helping people too. I'm sure you are.
I worked in mental health for 4 years.
Yeah.
Before I moved out here.
Yeah.
80 to 100 hours a week.
Just putting in those hours.
All I ever wanted to do was help people. Yeah. And that's why I actually started a YouTube channel about my therapy process. So
what is your YouTube channel? Let them know.
What is it? Reclaiming. It's called Reclaiming the Wolf with an E.
Okay.
Yeah, I had started a YouTube channel like a year ago, also for the purpose of trying to help people, and I was trying to like. That one was more like, oh, I felt shitty about this thing today, and this is what I did to make it better. And like, I did like a few episodes, and then I stopped doing things to make it better.
Consistency. Like, consistency with this podcast. Like,
yeah.
When I first did my first podcast, I was stumbling. Like, I was saying like a lot, and like, yeah. So
it's
like,
hard to control the likes.
Yeah. So through time, you'll get better and better, and like, that's what I love to see is progression. Progression with anything.
I think that like, as much as I wanted to be, and I was still getting messages from people saying it was helpful. And
like, I love those kind of messages because
yeah,
it does, it helps.
I wasn't really in the place to be helping those people, I later realized, and so now I'm like being even more open and honest about I'm like sobbing in some of the videos. Like,
that's because by you doing that, other people with the same story are validated and like will relate to you. And it's like, because being open and honest it's hard. It's super hard.
So for the first several days, I felt nothing. And so I'm like talking about all these terrible things that happened to me and just like completely flat affect and saying as I'm
like
doing that.
Monotone
like,
voice and like.
And I'm talking about like, I'm completely detached from my emotions right now. And this is a thing that happens with PTSD.
Yeah. I felt like I was attached because my parents, like, I would shut off my emotions, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a coping mechanism.
It is.
When we're children and we don't know what else to do, then like, that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
And so then it's like your body's trying to protect you. Your mind is trying to protect you by not letting you access the way that it really feels.
Yeah. A coping mechanism, like flight or fight response.
Right. Yeah. So then I'm like just freaking out about life, sitting literally here, and it's like nighttime. I'd come home from therapy and I was like, maybe I should like record myself now so that people know that I just actually sometimes am like hyper emotional.
Yeah.
Like as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been, because before I was only recording like during my breaks from therapy, and like when I'm at therapy, yeah, because I
don't have personal space or.
Yeah, like it's like my lunch break. Literally my lunch break. I'm like, eat my lunch, and then like I talk about like what happened so far that day, and just even because I'm still at therapy and like I know I'm gonna go back inside and still be talking to people, then it's like I feel that support. And then, like, as soon as I leave there, I feel completely fucking different every single day.
Different as in good, or different as in, like...
It depends on the day. It was, like, weird. Probably the best that I had felt after therapy was 2 days ago. Was that when I...
This was, like...
gave you the books?
Yeah, this was
2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Tuesday.
was crazy that was the best that I'd ever felt, because I had just uncovered my first, like, significant sexual trauma from when I was 5.
Yeah.
So, like, why that was the day that I felt best is beyond me.
Yeah.
But since then, I've, like, kind of, like, been like, oh, fuck, well, now what am I gonna do about this? So now I'm, like, going back downhill, you know? So it's kind of this, like, sometimes I come home and I'm like, oh, yay, my whole life makes sense. And sometimes I'm like, wow, my whole life makes sense and it's horrible.
What really helps me is counting, like, the blessings that are in your life. Because, like, for me, I always think about, I have 2 eyes to see. Like, some people are blind and they can't even see color. You know, color is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can walk around on 2 legs, you know.
The other day, I saw a guy walking around on his, like, he didn't have...
Like, he had a stuff.
This, and he didn't have these.
Yeah, so it's
but
like...
he was still walking. And I was like, damn.
I know.
And I'm at the gym, like, getting ready to go to therapy, and yeah, you're right. I was like, okay.
Like, what do I have to complain about? You know?
Yeah.
And it like Gary Vee, he talks about this too, like perspective. Like, you know, there are people in different countries that, you know, don't have like what we have and stuff, you know. So it really is perspective.
Well, so
and it's like, it's hard for me, like, even thinking about that. Yeah, like every day, like, I'm not, hey, life's great, you know, but.
Well, so I have a hard time doing the comparison thing because I have empathy problems. Like, I have too much of it. And so then I start feeling like this world is such a terrible place because these people are in this much pain.
Oh, yeah.
So that one's a difficult one for me.
Yeah.
I can't watch the news because I'm like,
well, then again,
oh
the
my
news,
God, all these terrible things are happening to
that's
these
why
people.
the news is there. It's to promote. I feel like it's there to promote propaganda and, like, all, like, not all of it, but, you know, certain. And it's all negativity.
I fucking hate it. I hate it, man. I can't figure out how to turn off, like, the monitors at the gym. And I go to the gym every morning when that's when the news is on in the morning.
You just blast your music.
No, I can't hear it, but there's subtitles.
Yeah. But then, yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah, it's there. You just gotta, it's all, your attention.
Well, but then I start feeling guilty for ignoring it.
Yeah.
And it's like, then there's this whole other problem, you know? And I'm like, that's when on Tuesday, that's how I started my day, with this world is a terrible place.
Damn. That's not a good way to start your day.
I, like, went into therapy and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I just, like, see all these horrible things happening and, like, why are there so many terrible people out there, you know? And I'm like, how can these people exist and you guys exist? Like, talking about the therapist, you know?
Then again, it goes, like, yin yang. It goes back to knowing that there's two sides to everything, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, there are shitty people that exist, but there are also, like, super amazing people that exist too.
Yeah, and we wouldn't know how amazing those people were if we didn't
without
have
those shitty people
to compare it to. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's interesting to know about, like, to have that perspective.
Yeah. It's hard. It's
super hard.
I'm supposed to be working on it, but I have been trying to work on it for as long as I can remember, so we'll see how it goes.
So, like, all right, so what did you want to say? You're like 10 years old and, like, you have like your dream job. Like, what would it be? Like, did you have a dream job growing up?
When I was 10, I thought I would be in the Olympics as a gymnast.
Yo, that's dope.
Yeah. Then I quit when I was 11.
You quit?
Yeah.
Why'd you quit?
I was getting too tall and things were getting to be harder, and I thought maybe I wanted to do other things with my life because gymnastics took up my whole life. I couldn't, like, hang out with friends.
That's
or
like sacrifice. If you want to do that, you gotta sacrifice. Like, I mean, like, for the gymnasts and stuff, they don't have a life besides that. You know, that is your life.
And so I couldn't go to the school dances because I had gymnastics on Friday nights and Saturday mornings. And I had switched to a new gym also, and they were so strict at the new gym.
Were they Russian?
No. Man. And I actually, a couple of things that I think have affected me through my entire life are a few times that I fell in gymnastics.
Oh, that kind of caused like fear of pain, like fear of falling.
I think fear of, specifically one time, I was doing a back handspring on the beam. I was probably 8 years old.
Yeah.
And one of my hands slipped and I hit my head really hard.
Yeah.
And man, I could never do it again without fear. Through the next 3 years, even like for meets, the coach would have to just like stand next to me as I would do that part of the routines, and it just like it fucked me up. I could never do it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, so they say get back on the horse. Like for me, it was get back on the beam. And so it's that came up for me like a few months ago. Maybe like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
I kept thinking about this falling on the beam thing, and I was like, man, that affected my entire life. Anytime I do something and then something bad happens, I will not do that thing again.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. All right.
So
time for something else.
Okay. For me, like when I was like around 10, I wanted to be a professional skateboarder. Like I would go out like every day and skate with my friends. Dude, it was the coolest experience. And like, you know, when you're a kid, you don't have responsibilities, and you could just pretty much do whatever you want. Like that's super dope.
And your body feels indestructible, but apparently it's not when you hit your head really hard and then you hyperextend your knees all the time and you fall off the bars and knock the wind out of yourself. Like, yeah. You start getting less indestructible as you get older, and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like if you choose that path, then you have to kind of expect that. You know, like, you know, if I'm gonna, obviously if I'm gonna ollie off of a 8 stair, you're gonna there's a chance you're gonna hit your head, and it's just the game that you partake in.
Yeah, it's something like, I don't know. I guess
it's I forgot what it is, but not having an expectation or something like that, like not being attached to the idea that I'm gonna hit my head. You just have to do it. And if you do land that trick, it's like the best feeling ever, you know?
Yeah, but did you ever hit your head?
I did. I hit my head. I felt.
And then you did it again.
So many times, yeah, and like my legs are all messed up because of that. And you know, I wouldn't trade those experiences like for anything else.
Yeah. I probably could have learned better from the falling off the beam experience.
Yeah. So it's just mindset stuff, you know?
Yeah.
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 Take that with you.
I've been trying to get back on that fucking beam, man.
That's the name of the podcast.
Get back on
the beam.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
Probably not though, because I'm sure at this point I'd probably like break my back before I fall on my head. Too old now.
What are like some
22 years ago? What
are like some future things? Like, you know, it's cool to look ahead and like see where you want to be, you know? Like what are your like long-term?
So I've been trying to figure out how I want to go back into the mental health field.
Yeah.
And I think at least like starting out, it'll be via video versus actually meeting in sessions with people. When I started doing video for work, then I liked that, you know, you could reach infinite amount of people instead
like,
of one.
They were saying how with meeting people in person, you don't have the chance to meet, like you're saying, like millions of people, and it's like your time too. You have to drive to that place, you know. But here, you can just turn on the camera, done.
Right.
Reach millions of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, my story is fucked up, man.
Yeah.
So and like the more fucked up thing about that is that it's not uncommon. You know? So I think, you know, being able to take all that fucked up experience and then heal myself, or with the help of others, and then use that to just like almost be an example.
You can get through anything. You can like, if I gone through this, like, there's a chance that you can survive or like go through it also and come out the other side.
How many times have you been raped?
Oh, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because it's 21 for me.
21?
Yeah, 21 sexual traumas. Yeah, I had to write them all out the other day. Yeah, so getting through 21 sexual traumas that I remember.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's some shit. So
was that like through the years, or is it just like
between age 5 and 28? Damn.
So yeah, that for me, that's probably why I have this mindset where like I don't. It's perspective. Like, see, now I have a different perspective. Like, where you're coming from, it's like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah, and that's what but the thing is that is like not an uncommon experience. 1 in 6 women have experienced either completed or attempted rape. Yeah. Every 92 seconds, someone in our country is sexually assaulted. Yeah. Every 92 seconds.
Well, so what are you doing? Like, are you like you're pulling up facts? Like, are you researching all this stuff like to help other people, and like maybe you can be like an advocate for, like, you know?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, in my therapy, then, you know, I'm learning like more a lot, yeah. Right? Yeah. And my background is in mental health, specifically with people with trauma. Yeah. So I think the future is like kind of sexual empowerment. Yeah. So I had like sex was this theme in my life that like it was really awesome. So like, yeah, sure, 21 bad experiences. I've had thousands of amazing experiences. Yeah. One that I just told you guys about, you know? And so I think I had always consciously focused on the positive.
That's good. Yeah.
While unconsciously, and then, you know, any kind of trigger thing.
So, okay, was there a point where like you're having this amazing experience and something like triggered you and like...
Not really. That didn't really happen for me, unless a couple of times people have done ridiculous things during sex, like slap me in the face without asking me. Oh, so then I get triggered back to, you know, fucked up things happening. But that's not even that's not even included in that. Yeah, yeah. You know.
So like there's like stuff that's like off limits, like not off limits, but it's like, whoa, like what the fuck?
What do you mean?
Like how you're saying like slapping or like choking?
Yeah, and so I guess like sexual education is something that I also have been wanting to do for a long time. But the sex ed that we get in school? Do you remember the sex ed you got in school?
It was not good.
First of all, I was already having sex before we even had sex ed. Like willingly and enjoyably. Yeah, yeah. And then like it's just like learning about STDs. They don't teach desire. They don't teach anything about like consent
Yeah.
Right? It's just...
I think the school that I went to only taught the shit about like guys, and they don't talk about girls. Like well, they did, they brought it up, but not in depth, you know, like how you're saying desires or like.
Right.
Yeah.
And so actually,
and like right now the music industry, like movies teach it, you know, sex as not a. I mean, sex is cool, like, but there's also like you have a connection with somebody too, with sex. Like, there's a connection, and then there's like you just want to fuck, you know. It's like,
right. And both of those are totally fine.
Yeah.
And there's so much information out there that's like telling you, you know, so much slut shaming.
Yeah.
You know, that happens. Like, I got so much slut shaming through my whole life. Like, if only you guys knew, you know. And I just like didn't really care because like I knew like I was doing that because sometimes I needed to, and a lot of times I just wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you know, there's like all these different levels of like how to get through trauma, like how to reconnect with your sexual being, like how to set your limits. And so I want to do kind of like, you know, PG stuff around that, but because my job is I'm a fetish performer and producer, then the way that my content has changed just in the past couple of days is I was a big advocate for male chastity, and I still think it, you know,
male chastity as in like not having sex and
like an actual cage.
Oh shit, okay.
To keep people from harming others.
Oh, okay.
Because...
Like, why?
Because if they're locked up, then they can't use the thing to harm someone. Because it's locked up.
Yeah.
So... And that, I mean, obviously it's an enormous problem if 1 in every 6 people have experienced rape, right? And that wouldn't exist if if all men had to be in a cage. And like, there's like, the people who are doing that are not the majority of the population.
Then again, I think it's like how like you're saying, sex ed.
Right, exactly.
It's like
so
to create awareness for, you know.
So I want to be doing it both PG and like in my fetish videos. So yesterday, for example, I shot a video that was like... Can
you before you do that, can you explain like what you do, like how... So some like they would send you requests and like you would fulfill those pretty much.
Yeah, or I just... So there's like... On the sites that I post on, there's like hundreds of categories.
Yeah. And
I just do whatever I want. And sometimes by myself, sometimes I would do it with another person. Like, I did a lot of orgasm control stuff, so like I'm, you know, doing the controlling and whatever kind of sensation that it is.
That shit's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love it. And so a lot of what I did and do is female domination. So also things like ball busting and whipping, you know, caning, the works. And
guys like they love that shit.
Right.
And you're saying how they get satisfaction. You were saying how like they get satisfaction from that, and like what creates that sort of like satisfaction. What do you think?
So I mean, there's a lot of different levels to it, and that's kind of like why I'm trying to
like understand more about it.
Well, not understand more about it, because I think that it's not that I don't understand it, it's that I do understand it, and so I see that there's all these different places that it comes from. So
yeah, where does it come from?
So there's like, I think that the healthiest way that it can exist is
trust.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like for like a person to want to be submissive, I think the healthiest situation for that is like big, powerful men who like in their life
okay.
are in power positions.
Yeah, and they want to escape from that.
And they want to escape from that.
Yeah.
I think that is super healthy, and keep doing that.
There's one where there was a story where this guy had his credit card, and like he would tell the girl like, or the girl would say like, "Oh, I'm gonna spend all your fucking money," and like that type of shit.
Yeah, financial domination.
Yeah, that
yeah.
That's.
And you know what? Financial domination is a hard one for me because actually a lot of people who are into financial domination do not have money, and they literally give away all of their money. And then
that's not healthy. That's not healthy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you know, there's the CEO who likes to go submit to a dom because his entire rest of his day he's telling people what to do,
and he's dominating them.
And then there is the, you know, depressed kid in his mom's basement. Who feels like he wants to self-harm, but so if he goes and has someone else do it for him, then he's getting the harm.
There's
both of those exist, and it's the same behavior.
Wow. So you're getting like all these different types of people. Yeah.
So I actually stopped doing just regular live sessions because
it got too. Do you think it got too personal?
Well, a lot of times it would end up as a literal therapy session that we would just sit like this, and they would talk to me about their problems. Instead of actually do the session, which was
Is that what you wanted to do? You're like, hey, I want to help people. Like,
I was getting paid way more for that than I would have been if I was an actual therapist. It was fine, and I actually preferred that that's what they chose to do with me versus whatever they had come for, you know?
Yeah.
And then that made me realize all of the other people who were not saying that and were still coming for the same reason. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I first started doing it, and I'm like, oh, everyone like has their own stuff that they're into. They should all be able to do whatever they want.
Then you come to like similarities and like, well, how did you end up like starting this? Like you were just like, fuck it, one day I'm just gonna fucking do it, or like you came.
Do you want to know the answer?
I don't. That's what I'm asking.
Well.
Unless you don't want to.
So I started kind of dabbling in it when I first moved to LA. Like I said, I worked in mental health. I used to live in Boston for the 4 years after I graduated college. Yeah. And I wanted to move out to Los Angeles, and even with working as much as I did, I wasn't making enough money.
You coming to LA was like, because a lot of people move to LA for like the chance of like doing something or like, you know.
I just thought it was a cool place to live.
Okay. And this is a fucking dope ass place to live.
Yeah, I didn't live here when I moved here. This is where I wanted to. This is like what I pictured.
You're here.
Yeah, well now I'm leaving. I finally made it, and that's what I wanted, and now I've had enough of it. Yeah. But so no, I lived in Koreatown when I first moved here.
That's dope.
Not the same as here. Yeah, I mean, when I ate meat, it was cool. Korean barbecue was great.
Oh yeah.
But no, so then I'm like, oh, I'm not making nearly enough money to actually move somewhere. It's not like you can just like.
How was it over there, like Boston? Super cheap?
No.
Same.
It's pretty much the same, yeah. Which was why I didn't have money, because I had to spend all my money on rent. And I did a lot of shopping back then. I was a retail therapy person back then. Yeah. I honestly have like bought 3 items of clothing in the past 5 years that I've lived in Los Angeles. Like I just like still wear all the stuff that I bought back then. But I started in Boston for extra money. I started modeling. Mm-hmm. And so then I continued doing that a little bit when I moved out to LA, but the way that scene out here is fucking dirty, man.
The scene out here?
Dirty, yeah. Like, not like the fashion modeling, but like the model mayhem modeling. It is fucked up. It is so fucked up.
You're gonna have to explain that.
So Model Mayhem, it's this website where people can like make a model account or a photographer account or whatever, and they
Your portfolio.
just put their portfolio up there, and they just contact each other and work
It's like
together.
a Craigslist of.
Yes.
Okay.
And so back in Boston, the kind of photographers that you get are like kind of similar to my clientele for the Dom work. People who had real jobs, I shouldn't say real jobs, who had higher paying jobs and who did photography as a hobby.
Yeah.
And so they would, pay $100, $200 an hour to take photos of you naked in dance poses.
Yeah.
And so like I'm like, oh cool, I'll just keep doing that in LA.
Oh, so it took a wild turn.
Well, so when I came out here, the photo stuff was fucking dirty. It was like people were sticking their fingers where they didn't belong, left and right, and then like I learned that's just like how they are out here, and I was like, fuck that shit. So
dropping some fucking truth bombs right now. Some fucking you're exposing. I like it.
Fuck LA.
No, I love LA. LA's dope.
Fuck LA photographers. And so actually from Model Mayhem still though, I learned about these foot fetish parties.
Oh, there's parties.
So I started going to foot
dope.
fetish parties.
Just for the fuck of it.
I stopped doing it soon after. They're disgusting. Well,
like different like.
I mean, they're disgusting because like you just have all these different people like just sucking on your toes, and they pay you $20 for 10 minutes.
It's like, yo, let me suck your toes for $20.
Stupid. So
easy
dumb.
money. Easy money.
That's what I thought until I realized how much more I could make. So yeah, that's what I thought right at the beginning, and so I started doing that, and so then I found out that like some of the people who did that did videos of feet, and so then I started kind of doing that. I started working a little bit for other producers, and then this really terrible thing happens to me. I was beaten severely. Yeah. Not by a photographer or producer or anything, but it was a different situation.
Okay. Yeah.
And later, like a few months later, when I went to court to
the whole process.
Yeah. Then I kind of lost my shit.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and I was like, I couldn't like show up to sets anymore, and so I was like, all right, well, all these people are paying me $100 an hour, which means they've got to be making a lot more than that on these videos that they're shooting. Yeah. I'm just gonna start doing it myself.
And then is that where you took off, or like, yeah, that's where you took off?
Yeah. So. That's also why I never went to therapy after, like, that last time. Yeah. Because, like, that should have been the time that was like, all right, man, like, go to fucking therapy and for then, this shit.
Going back to what we were saying, like, you just blocked it off. You just blocked it off, and, like, you...
And I channeled it into my work.
Well, that was kind of... Yeah. It kind of worked out.
And it did for 4 years. Yeah. And
then it just fucking came up. But, like, going back to your story, like, you're there, you start doing video, and then...
And I just, I loved just how I had no idea that I could talk like that.
Oh, and it's like, it gives you the freedom to, like, to do your own shit, like...
Right.
You don't
I made my own schedule.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I mean...
That's the point where I'm trying to...
Being able to make your own schedule is, like... just the best thing in the world.
Yeah, like that's why I'm starting this whole thing, because like you can choose your hours, but it's the work you put in. But you can choose your hours. You don't have a boss telling you what to do. Your time is very important. Yeah.
Right, and like I had space to lose my shit if I needed to. Like if I needed to lose my shit, I could lose my shit, and then I'll just record something later.
Yeah.
Because I had started like, you know, canceling and not being able to show up for things, and you know, I didn't want to do that.
You're like, fuck that. Yeah.
So yeah, it was easier to just do my own thing, and so I started by just like pretty much recording everything I did. Brushing my teeth, taking a shower, dancing in my room.
Wait, people, like, you would put that online?
Uh-huh.
And people would...
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Buy it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, people would buy it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Alright, cool. Did you, like, did you sell, like, any of your, like, socks or your panties? You sold? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
Yeah. Actually, the pantyhose that are on my bed right now, I had never gotten around to trying to sell them, so I just took a picture of them, like, lump some of them this morning, and I was like, first person to send me $500 can have all of these.
Done. How quick do they sell? Like, are they like a hot?
So usually for me, I actually don't put effort into selling them. I would just, like, if someone messaged me about buying my socks or pantyhose or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Here.
Yeah, alright, cool.
Sure.
So it's another stream of income.
Mm-hmm.
You're an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
Yeah. So then, you know, things evolved over time, and my characters evolved like a gazillion different times, and so now, like, it's like in the new evolution process right now. Yeah. Obviously it's not finished.
Yeah, because I feel like you can't, because growth, right? Like, you have to keep growing, and you can't stay stagnant, or else, like, that's where you will, like, there's this thing where it's getting older or getting old. Like, getting old is staying in the same spot and not growing, while getting older is getting wiser and just getting smarter, you know? And, like, you're growing.
Even, like, I changed my appearance a million times. I had, like, my hair was short when I moved here.
Yeah.
And then I dyed it blonde after the thing happened. And then I got hair extensions. And then when I took out the hair extensions, and it was super blonde. And then it was so much that it started breaking. So now I've gone back to my natural hair color, but I was still, for, like, a long time, did, like, full face of makeup, like, did my hair every single time. Now I shoot my videos exactly like I am right now.
That's dope.
I don't wear makeup. I don't do my hair. Yeah. And I started that in January.
Hell yeah. What's the craziest thing you've done? Like, you've had, like, what's, like, the weirdest request you've had to do? Like, without, like, exposed, like, you know.
Well, so one of my main categories, one of my best-selling categories is toilet slavery.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the weirdest, I don't think. Maybe it is the weirdest. So those are actually the only things that I sell for, like, a lot of money.
That's a thing? Because like, the only thing that I know of is the financial, like, there's, I don't know, like, different topics. Like, what? So,
and another one of my main categories is executrix, where I act like I am killing the viewer.
Oh, shit.
Via strangling or smothering, or sometimes I have a magical vagina so I pretend like I'm having sex with them.
And it's like you're trapping.
And then, but and then it's like when they have the orgasm, then they die. And I'm just like, and it's all pretend. Like, it's all just like me on my bed.
So they can't get off. They can't get off without that, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, damn.
And so I have a couple people who will come out and shoot these things with me. Oh, so these costumes, some of these costumes I have over here. I have this poison ivy costume. I have
you see that?
This is only a piece of it. There's this. I think the dress is actually there's my closet somewhere. There's like this thing. I have like the wigs. I have a Catwoman.
Wait, what's the story behind the poison ivy one? Is that like the?
Yeah, so because she kills people.
Oh, okay.
With her kiss.
Oh, that's her character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'll like play the different characters usually in the executrix ones. So superheroine, I guess, is another one of the things, but
yeah.
Usually always my superheroines are killing someone.
Yeah.
I do a lot of mixed wrestlings. Well, scissor holds, so like squeeze someone between my legs.
Yeah.
Muscle worship.
Uh-huh.
So I just show off my muscles.
Yeah.
And like I said, foot fetish is a big one.
Like I wonder what gets to the point where like they've tried like other stuff, like like that doesn't work for me, and like they find that certain topic where it gets them off.
Well, so most people, like, they have the ideas. A lot of the executrix stuff comes from watching movies and seeing people die in movies, and like the idea of it is thrilling. So also a thing about the executrix thing is it's like totally fantasy.
Yeah,
it's not
like,
people who actually want to die.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
Which oftentimes when I tell people about this, then they're like concerned, because they're like, do these people want to die? And I'm like, no, they, like,
it's just fantasy.
They just fantasize around the idea of being killed.
Just like
by,
when you read a book,
a beautiful, strong woman.
Yeah, like when you read a book, like a fiction book, and like you go into another world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean that's my work, is creating this world.
Yeah.
For the viewer.
Damn, that's fucking tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, do you enjoy it?
Oh, I love it.
You love it?
Yeah, I only do what I love. So, I say no to requests all the time.
Yeah.
If it's not something that I want to do.
Yeah, like it goes back to like you choosing what you want to do and shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Because I guess that was the whole thing, that like it was okay. Now everything that I do is going to be my choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. I think we should wrap it up, dude. How long was that? Yeah, I don't know if you want to like plug your stuff, like just say whatever you want, like whatever you're working on, like your channel, YouTube channel, or like just whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how much you're legally allowed to put on YouTube. I only like write my website across the screen sometimes because I'm like, I don't think.
Okay, I'll put it in the video.
Yeah,
just let me know. Yeah.
So my website is worshipthewolf.com with an E.
Yeah.
And my YouTube channel is Reclaiming the Wolf with an E.
Sweet. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.